Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to see the second topic in operations management, the classification of production system. In the previous video, we have seen the general nature of production system. So, in continuing with this, the production system is further classified into four more specific methods. It's called job shop production system, batch or intermittent production system, continuous production system, and then cellular production system. So let's see one by one. So what is job shop production system? So job shop production specifically characterized by manufacturing of one or few quantities of products designed and produced as per the specification of customers within prefixed time and cost. So it's clearly stated that it's a make to order general method. So the distinguishing feature of job shop is low volume and high varieties of products. So there are few examples for job shop production system like special purpose machines, customs clothing, aircraft prototypes, material handling machines, and so on. So moving on to the characteristics of job shop production system. So in job shop there are high varieties of products and low volumes. More number of general purpose machines and facilities are used in job shop. The highly skilled operators who can take up each job as a challenge because of its uniqueness, and the production setup is frequently changed. Process type of layouts for arrangement of facilities is used in job shop, and there are large inventory of materials, tools and parts as a part of the system. And some more characteristics of job shop production systems are: the movement of materials is very long and interrupted. There is always a relative imbalance of workloads of different departments and labor, and the functional departmentation exists in the system. The system requires numerous job instructions, and the job shop involves a relatively complicated scheduling system. So the modification in material handling is required. So moving on to the second classification of the production system, it's called batch production. So what is batch? So batch production is characterized by the manufacture of limited number of products produced at regular intervals and stocked awaiting sales. It's like a make to stock production system where the large inventories are converted into the products and kept as a stock for delivery to the customers. So the batch production aims at satisfying the continuous customer demand for an item. So batch production caters to make to stock, assemble to order, and also sometimes it's a make to order manufacturing environments. So most of the time we try to follow the combination of all the three general methods. So there are some examples for batch production: machine shops, foundries, the plastic molding units, chemical and pharmaceutical units. So what are the characteristics of batch production? So the batch productions have shorter production runs. The plant and machinery setup is used for production of items in a batch, and setup required to be changed for processing next batch of items. So that's why there are more number of setups and hence higher setup cost. The amount of supervision required is less when compared to the job shop production system. Plant and machinery setup is always flexible. Manufacturing lead time and also the cost is lower as compared to the job shop. There are higher level of work in process inventory since the products are purchased well in advance. And moving on to the third classification of production system, it's called continuous production system. So as the name indicates, the system is predominantly used in process manufacturing. So the process manufacturing is defined as a production that adds value by mixing, separating, forming, or by performing some chemical reactions. So it may be carried out in either batch or continuous mode. So the process industries manufacture highly standardized non-discrete products in extremely large volumes using a continuous process method. Products that flow into continuous streams fall in this category. Since the process involves high level of material movement, high automation is possible with sophisticated controls for processes. So the material handling can also be fully automated depending upon the nature of the process industry. So what are the characteristics of process industry? The process industry is have a dedicated plant and equipment with zero flexibility. The material handling is fully automated as we already discussed. Both wet and dry product flow measured by units like weight or volume. The lead time is very short when compared to all other production systems. So the component materials cannot be readily identified as a final product, and the product cannot be disassembled. So the end product is not naturally divisible, and hence an additional step such as the bottling or canning is needed to get the products into a saleable units. And as we had discussed, since the high level of automation and the material handling is required, it involves larger investment and usually a capital intensive units. Process flows a predetermined sequence of operations. So since this is a process industry, the maintenance is a very important aspect. Unit cost is lower due to a higher volume of productions. So the planning and scheduling is always a routine action. Even persons with limited skills can be used on the production line. So moving on to the final classification of production system, it's called cellular production. So the cellular production system is based on group technology, which seeks to achieve superior performance by exploiting similarities inherent in the parts. So in cellular production, groups of parts that have similar processing requirements are grouped into part families. So after the parts are divided into families, it is created that includes all the equipment, facilities and human skills required to produce a part family. Hope you all understood the classification of production systems. Thanks for watching. Keep learning and growing.